Hello, 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 and welcome to episode 31 of the Cooler Guild. I am Coop Cooper, and joined with me, as always, is my co-host, Van Crisp.
What's up?
We're recording on Sunday, April 20th, 2025. On today's episode, we'll be discussing Reign's glorious win over Portland that happened on Friday night in Seattle.
Praise the soccer gods.
Truly, they're on our side. And then we'll be doing our usual look around the league at some of the other results that happened from the weekend. But first, some housekeeping.
The Cooler Guild is part of the Sounder at Heart podcast network. You can either listen to us on our public feed, or if you're a Sounder at Heart subscriber, on the private unified feed with the other podcasts on the network. If you'd like to become a subscriber, just visit our page at sounderatheart.com/the Cooler Guild. New subscribers get 10% off the normal rate, and you'll help support everything we're doing.
Great. Perfect. Soccer was on Friday night. Anything else?
I got off work early to go up to the game.
And?
The pure joy. The pure joy I felt.
Yeah.
Ugh. It was such a relief.
Yeah, it felt like one of those games where, like, yeah, it's early in the season, but, you know, you want to beat Portland every fucking time.
Yeah, this is a game that we always want to win.
Yeah, and I don't think team hasn't really been that great in recent years, so it hasn't been shocking that we haven't really been playing great against them or finding ways to get the win against them, even in a rival match.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of just like, we've got an interesting team, we got a fun team, let's go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really know much else happened this weekend. It was Friday night, kicked off the week, and then I just had I feel like that puts me in the good mood for the rest of the weekend. Like, it would have been a real fucking bummer had we lost.
I know, and then all of our teams have won this weekend.
Yeah, our specific teams that we follow.
Yes.
Sounders won. They were raining goals early in the first half.
Mm-hmm.
Van watches the Wolverhampton Wanderers. They picked up a win.
I do.
And then I am on the Liverpool train. Have been for several years. So that's always, I don't know, they kind of been eking out results. Seems like it's been a slow way to win the league, but
at least they're in the league. I started following Wolves when they were in the championship. So.
Yeah, well, and the Liverpool played Leicester today, and now they are officially relegated back.
I know, and former Wolves player Connor Cody plays for Leicester, so look where that got you.
Yeah, and then the Liverpool women won as well, so that was fun. But yeah,
I watched some Champions League this weekend too.
Mm-hmm. Women's Champions League.
Yep. Oh my God, Chelsea got destroyed today.
Did they?
Yeah. 4-1. Barcelona beat them.
Ooh, is that the first leg?
Yeah.
Was it in Barcelona?
No.
Oh.
I can't remember.
You don't remember that the stadium was like blue people or blue and red people?
I was making pizza while I watched it.
Okay. Pizza. Wait, what? Wasn't that this morning?
Yeah.
You were making pizza in the morning?
Yeah.
For like breakfast?
Kinda. It took a while. It was homemade pizza.
Yeah, but like breakfast pizza.
Yeah, make the dough.
Is it for later? Or did you?
No, I made the dough earlier.
Okay. I'm just making sure that we had, like, what I'm understanding is that you had a pizza at, like, what was it, 9:30 in the morning? 9 in the morning?
By the time I ate, it was like 10 something.
Okay. Whatever. You were up early, so I guess it's fine. It's also fine regardless, so. Anyways,
want to get into the game?
Yeah, let's get into the game. Got a match recap. On Friday night at Lumen Field, Seattle Reign and the Portland Thorns matched up once again for the biggest rivalry in the NWSL. Both teams entered the match with just one win in 4 matches, and the Thorns sitting just 1 point above the Reign in the standings. After several games of coming close to scoring, Maddie Dahlien finally bagged her first goal in the NWSL just 4 minutes after kickoff, assisted by a perfectly weighted pass from Lynn Biandolo to find Maddie up on the wing. Chances continued throughout the game from both sides. Most of Portland's came at the end. And despite some close calls, Claudia Dickey also standing on her head, some saves from the post and crossbars, the Reign's defense displayed a bend but do not break mentality. And Maddie Dahlien's goal became the game winner in this Cascadia clash, giving Reign their second win this season and securing all 3 points at home. It's what we want to see. It's exactly what we want to see.
Yep.
I'm also so glad that Maddie got her goal as I had requested last week. I mean, I'm sure everyone was requesting it, but we all knew it was coming soon, and it's got to be so much sweeter when it's against Portland.
Yeah, and I turned to Grant, who was sitting behind me before the game, and I looked at him and I said, Maddie Dahlien's going to score this game.
Yeah.
And then I put it in the Discord.
Yeah.
And then after she scored, he's like, oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
You were right. And I was like, it's about to happen sometime. I was going to say that until she scored anyway.
I think it was like the right combination of just things coming together that, it finally just broke for her.
And it was a great shot, too. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, whoops.
I was saying that Dahlien's goal was a good shot, too.
Yeah.
She put herself into that dangerous space because Lynn played her out wide.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a well-weighted pass, but it might have been a little ahead of her.
But Maddie's fast.
But Maddie's right. She can make up that space.
Yeah.
So I just thought it was great. We were hoping that Sam Hyatt started so that this could happen.
Oh my God. Called out. I was going to keep that in the chat.
Oops. You know me and my hot takes.
Yeah. We know. Jesus.
Anyway, I did want to point out with this game, with this start, Phoebe McLaren has continued her regular season appearance streak. 5 starts this season and 40 consecutive matches played for the Reign. And this was also her 50th regular season appearance for the Reign.
Okay. It's pretty good.
Yeah. She's becoming a staple player.
Yeah, I think it's well deserved. I mean, obviously we were biased because she was Cooler Player of the Season last year. But I think now because of the turnover that we've had and getting in higher, like us, I'm not talking about Phoebe McLaren's position, but I'm talking about other positions on the field, getting higher quality players in those positions and stuff, that she's maybe not as big of a standout as she was last season. But she's a solid player, and oftentimes people who play those defensive roles don't even, they don't get the recognition they deserve anyways. But yeah, I think she's been playing very, very solid this season, and still, she's a starter. She's a starter for this team.
Yep. Notable stats.
Yeah.
Other notable stats.
Kind of cool. I feel like just because Maddie Dahlien's game is so similar to Lynn Biondolo, it was extra cool that this was Lynn's, the NWSL record tying assist that she got on the goal for Maddie Dahlien.
Regular season all-time assist record.
Yeah, which is, how many was it?
A lot.
It's like the one thing we didn't know on the number for that. But the funny thing is she tied, I guess she's not active in this league, but she's an active player. She tied Sofia Huerta, and then the ever favorite Jess McDonald, who's no longer playing, but I didn't know that Jess McDonald was also up there with assists. Yeah,
I was just telling Coop, I remember when Jess McDonald was on one of the calls in our delayed game last season before Huerta left, she asked Huerta about it, because Huerta's been on the verge for so long. Yeah,
of breaking it, and now she's gonna have her teammate, whenever she gets back, probably will have broken it. That'll kind of be fun for them to kind of, I don't know, compete with each other on.
But just think of how good Lynn Biondolo is.
Yeah.
She's the all-time leading goal scorer in the NWSL, and she's tied the regular season all-time assist record. So the amount of contributions she's had to goals is insane.
Yeah, she's the best player in the NWSL and in the history of the NWSL in regards to NWSL strictly.
Yeah, completely. It was also Lou Barnes' 100th NWSL win started as a starting player, and she's the first player in the league to do that.
Yeah, 100. That's crazy. I think my wife was like, "Oh, that means that she's old." It's that's rude.
Alex.
I was like, but you know how bad they were the first year? She made up for it too many seasons afterwards. So longevity also is something to be proud of. I don't think that's a bad thing.
No, it's not.
This is apparently was the first regular season win against the Thorns since August 2021. Was that the doubleheader?
I believe so.
Okay. So we were due.
This was a stat that was shouted at me in the broadcast by Mike Watt.
Everything shouted at you.
So yeah, now we're in 8th place, technically. Okay. We're tied for 6th on points, but it's goal differential, so...
I think it's but some of us have the same goal, so I don't know what the tiebreaker is, because we all have the same wins, losses, and draws as well. I think it
goes to cards after a while.
Yeah.
Because I think it's head-to-head next, but we're matched up with Bay FC.
Okay. In San Diego.
So it hasn't been head-to-heads yet.
Yeah. I mean, that'll get sorted out over the season anyway, so nothing to
So it's looking pretty good. Staying above the line.
Yeah, which was all I was asking for so far. We could talk about ambitions later in the season and see where we're at then, but job number 1, stay above the line, get into the playoffs. Do you have anything else? Do you just want to go over do you have any general thoughts on the match?
It was really, really exciting early. Mm-hmm. And then it got really, really nervy. I was holding on for dear life at the end. Yeah, I had my hands over my mouth, and I was just my hands on my head, and oh God, please don't fuck this up. I was waiting for it to get a heart rate alert on my Apple Watch. I didn't even think about looking at mine. I should go look at that. That'd be funny. I'm sure it spiked. Oh yeah. All right, so let's go into positives from the match. We definitely got a few of those. Number 1, obviously, Maddie Dahlien getting her first NWSL goal, and it comes against Portland at home. I think we pretty much already talked about it. Do you want to break down the goal? Do we need to? Well, I guess this was in my positives, but maybe I should. Oh, you want to talking about the involvement, player involvement? Yeah, it was definitely a teamish goal. Yeah. I mean, it's so early that I feel like when you see those kind of team build-up goals, you would rather see that kind of build-up in the middle of the game kind of thing. It seemed like they kind of just took advantage of Portland not totally being ready, which is great. I'm fine with that. But I went and counted, watched the video. There was 9 different players involved in that sequence with Dahlien. So McClernand passed it back to Dickey, and then there was a little bit of play between Bug, Curry, Meza, Heidema got a foot on it, Coco got a foot on it, and then he had the final turn and pass to Biandolo, who turned and passed it to Dahlien. Yeah, back to goal. She just switched around. She knew she was going to be there. Yeah. And first start together, ooh, they were cooking. They were cooking with that for sure. And there's a lot of other good chances. They just didn't really come to anything. But first start with Lynn, and that was the first start for Lynn for us. And then that's the first start we've gotten to see Dahlien and her together, which is, I think, going to be a very, very fun pairing to watch. Yeah. It's only going to get better. Yeah. As long as everyone stays healthy. Fingers crossed. But another thing we wanted, a clean sheet. And Claudia Dickey deserved it. She did. She played really well. Mm-hmm. She's doing all the right things. It seemed like she went down with some sort of injury issues, which... There were several times she went down. Yeah, and I've kind of noticed that with her game. I don't know what the deal is. I do feel like I noticed it a lot with her in particular. It was kind of funny because Laura, I think, addressed it. She's like, despite what it seems like, I'm not a coach that tells, goalkeepers to go down and waste time. It's just she just got had a couple of things that happened and needed to have it looked at. But luckily she seems fine. But, it did seem like backup goalkeeper was is this my moment? They called her over at one point, but she hadn't put her gloves on, so I knew she wasn't going to come on. But yeah, when she's coming out and getting balls over people, you're going to land awkwardly. Yeah. You're going to need a minute to get up. So in that sense, they're going to call the staff over. It's just kind of how it is. And then there was one where it looked like her knee might have just kind of buckled underneath her when she was kicking the ball out. She's fine, though. She's fine. And she closed out the game really, really well. The crossbar did save at least one chance for her. Did it hit the post? I feel like they hit the post a lot that game. I need a stat on how many dinks we get on the bar and the post. I know. Because once Crnogorcevic came on, Like almost directly after, she just whacked the
that
near
was like
post.
her first touch, right?
Yeah, I think so. What was that noise?
What?
It was like boop boop.
I don't know. I don't hear it on my side.
Oh.
Maybe it was you. Maybe you're a robot. It's just a side note I wanted to point out. I feel like I'm noticing Laura Harvey's fashion because before she kind of just wore like the training gear stuff. And now she seems to be like elevating her fashion game at these things. But she was wearing like a really nice quilted jacket. I don't know if you noticed it. I guess you were up in the books. Yeah, the quilted jacket I was a big fan of. I did go find it online. I am uncovering these things. She does seem to, I don't know if she's buying these things on clearance, but if she is, she's a savvy buyer. And I love a savvy buyer. That's like how I buy most of my stuff is, you got to wait for the initial thing to hit and then it becomes trendier later, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I noticed it because I sat on the aisle for the press conference and she walked right past me and I was like, ooh, that's nice. I bet Coop's gonna have something to say about that.
Oh, I did. Well, I was watching it. I had like some friends over. We went out to drinks and got dinner and then we came over to our house afterwards. And I was like, oh man, it's a really nice jacket. I mean, Alex is just like, yeah, Coop basically wants to be Laura Harvey. And I was like, what the fuck? I didn't ever say I wanted to be Laura Harvey. I just appreciate her clothes. And I also think I've like had this new appreciation for what like a cool jacket is. So I think I'll be a little sad when like summer comes around because there won't be cool jackets. So I'm just going to compliment the jackets while they are happening.
For sure. I want to add Jordan Heidema into the positives.
Yes. Not on the score sheet, but...
Not on the score sheet, but instrumental in the game. And I didn't even look at the stats before noticing. It didn't take stats for me to be like, oh, she had a really good game. No, you could tell. Also, she's an absolute bulldozer, and I'm loving this for her.
Because it kind of used to be the opposite for her.
Mm-hmm. But she's still getting fouled way too many times.
And not getting calls.
I want to talk with this Jordan Heidema. So Susie from Ride of the Valkyrie, Susie Rants, shout out Susie, has a great article that came out today, and it's called 3 Stats, Seattle Reign versus Portland Thorns. I just want to talk about one part in here dealing with Jordan Heidema. The Reign won 60% of their ground duels and aerial duels. Jordan Heidema won 16 of 18 duels, including all 9 of her aerial duels. So she's realized that she's one of the tallest players on the field.
Yeah.
And we've always kind of well, at least not always, but in the recent history, we've kind of struggled with that winning the first ball.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's a clearance, whether it's a kick, whether it's a ball coming through, really struggling to win the first 50-50 ball. And her being able to get the ball, get it down, win it, helps everyone else around her. So I thought she had a great game, and I just wanted to point that part out. But read the rest of this article; it's fantastic. Yeah, she does like those like 3 stats from the match every game. It seems like, and they're really interesting and fun. I like those pieces a lot. They're great.
I would like to see. I mean, it just there's some Heidema doubters. I think we know that obviously, and we've had our biases and hype her up maybe at times that it's not always warranted, but I feel like we see these like elements of her game that don't always get appreciated for somebody who's in her position at least. And so I need her to get on the score sheet. I need her to get an assist. I need something so that at least the doubters can shut the up. And I mean, and just like for someone, we see her score in the national team. We kind of see her have a little bit more goal involvement. I feel like there, she did have a touch, like I said, on this Dahlien goal, so that's great. But
think about it this way, right? In this game, in past games before we had Lynn,
mm-hmm.
she was expected to be Lynn.
Yeah,
and she's not. They're different players.
Yeah,
and they were trying, especially. Noticed it last game, trying to play her as if Lynn's in that position.
Yeah.
They're playing those through balls. And she's not going to be able to get there as quickly and be able to turn the corner and go to goal like these other players. And so I was excited for this match after seeing the starting lineup because I knew that Jordan Heidema was going to be able to play in a more comfortable role.
Yeah.
And be more effective. And we saw that. It's kind of, when you have a player that's really, really good in a certain position and then you're forcing them somewhere else to try and fill a hole, which is almost like I felt like we were trying to do. Sometimes they'll surprise you and they'll succeed. Other times that's just not the player that they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that having Lynn there and really filling out that front line is going to allow her to find her place and where she's excelling and then start contributing.
Okay. Yeah.
So I'm hopeful, especially having Lynn in there, that this is going to be more helpful for her in her contribution.
Her quest to be a goal, like a regular goal contributor, because that's what I think we've always thought what she would be when she joined the team, and it just kind of hasn't fully happened. But I know she has it in her. But
when you get on Susie's stats sheet,
yeah, she's a destroyer.
You had a good game.
Yeah, she did.
Not everything was great about this game. Like I said, it was nervy.
No, it was a gritty win for sure. I think the number one negative I had was they had their chances to get a second goal and kind of give themselves a little bit of a cushion, and they didn't bury any of those second chances despite being like just a little closer. And if like the decision to like go a different way would have been made, those were going to be goals. Especially there was a chance with Lynn where she tried to shoot it near post, and like you can listen to the press conference and her reasoning behind it makes sense. But also like it's her first game this season, so that'll get cleaned up and improve. But they a 1-0 win, I'll take it obviously, but there's gonna be games where you're gonna need to score multiple goals, and getting just the one chance isn't. You're gonna have to bury those other chances at some point.
Yeah, for sure. And it puts a lot of pressure on the defense because you don't have that leeway to give up a goal. Because if you give up a goal, you give up 2 points. Mm-hmm. You have 2 goals, you give up 3 points. So it puts a lot of pressure on the defense, and they were able to hold up.
Yeah,
but it's
barely. I mean, like it got really, really chippy, and Portland was very physical and aggressive at times where it was like, why aren't they getting more cards? But the Reign definitely got what they needed to do, like got the points they needed to, and they got the win. So I'm not going to be too mad about it, but we've had issues with scoring, so just makes me a little nervous.
Yeah, I mean, and we gave away some really dangerous chances. Like,
yeah,
they 7 corners.
Yeah, which to be fair, I think Portland's like near the top of teams that get corners, so that's definitely kind of within their game plan or whatever you want to call it. That's definitely something that they do. But I don't know. It scares me when they're pressing us that much.
Mm-hmm. It is. It's a wee bit terrifying. Actually, it's very terrifying. But it got worse towards the end of the game because the Thorns brought in Torden, and she was really tearing up that side. I might also add into the maybe negatives or performances that I wasn't impressed with is Madison Curry.
Yeah, she's been having a tough time lately. I don't know what it is. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of changes happening, but I feel like she's been given that role, that starting role. Like Laura Harvey clearly believes in her and keeps giving her chances. And I don't think she's been absolutely terrible that she deserves to get benched for this, but we've seen the kinds of games she can have, and she needs to turn it up, especially when you're playing a rival team like Portland.
Yeah. And you don't want to see your outside back get burned. And she has a knack for taking players down in really dangerous places, and you never want to see that.
Yeah, I had a note. What did I have? I had a note. It seemed to me that Curry was like kind of getting frustrated with some stuff.
Herself?
Yeah. Which is fair, but like, girl, like, because I like last week, the goal that we gave up, right? That was probably going to be a penalty if they didn't score that goal because of a foul from her. And yeah, I don't know. She's definitely got to go watch some film and kind of just.
Well, and that goal came from a free kick because of a foul she caused.
Yeah, it has me a little worried, but it's a new team, a lot of new players kind of in the team. I mean, this isn't like an established team like with everybody in the starting 11 that she just walked into, right? We've been like doing a lot of experimenting, and these players haven't been with the team for a long time, even before her.
But I'd also like to see Shea Holmes get a start. Portland's coach had a terrible suit on. You're going to have to explain about the belt buckle or the belt itself, because I did not see that.
I don't know that the suit was awful. It was a choice. I'll say it was a choice. But
he is not Obama. He cannot rock a tan suit.
Yeah. It was a choice. But he had like this gold belt buckle. It might have just been part of the belt, but it was like a gold. I think it was the letter M or something. So it's probably some like name brand stuff that I just don't fucking know. But like, it wasn't working. Like, sometimes we need to dress. I'm all for dressing youthful and stuff like that. But sometimes it's just like, I don't really know who pulls this off to begin with. But it's not him.
Yeah.
Sometimes we do fashion reviews, but I'm sorry, not sorry. The belt was shiny and I couldn't avoid seeing it.
I only saw him from the back because I was on that side, and I didn't see it. I must have skipped over it in the replay. I didn't watch his little conference.
I just saw the belt and I was like, oh, that.
Yeah, I watched the replay on mute because once again, we were in commentary hell with Mike Watts. So,
yeah. Do you think that? I mean, we already know he gets a lot of the games, but like, there were a lot of games happening at the same time on Friday, so I don't think the pool was probably as large as one would hope for it to pick from. But I also
he's
feel
always on the prime games.
Yeah, I know. They need to be looking for other people. Like,
just stop yelling at me and stop like just reading off your weird stats 12 times during the game. And I get it. The guy is busy. But I just don't. And this is subjective. His voice makes me angry.
I just feel like we're at the point in the NWSL, like, can't we get some more women on the calls or like doing his job? Because like Laura Lindsay was there, sure, but like I feel like there's just maybe a time for us to. I mean, I guess we're not allowed to hire diversity anymore. That's like illegal over now, but. I just like think that maybe we could introduce some more, like start getting some of these careers going for like female commentators, because it seems like they're not given the chance sometimes, and I just feel like the NWSL should maybe start pushing for that.
Anything but Mike Watts.
Fair. You got any other negatives you want to shout?
No, I'm ready to move on.
Post-match presser, we got a few notes I think from that.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this was kind of interesting. I think everyone as a fan of the Reign, who has been a fan of the Reign for many, many years, knows that when Rapinoe left, it was hard on the players and it was hard on the team, it was hard on the club. That's quite a personality and big shoes to fill. And I think it's impossible to replace her, but someone asked about like Lynn's role in the team and all of that stuff, and Harvey had made note that like when Pino left there was a little void missing, and that it seems like Lynn has filled that, and that's not surprising.
No, not at all. She was talking about just how hectic the game got towards the end, and a lot of that was defensive own doing, right? Because you're clearing the ball, but you're not clearing the ball into space. You're not clearing the ball out. You're like playing the ball into pressure, clearing the ball into pressure. It's just like, it was really frustrating to watch. And she commented on it in the post-game presser, just saying she wants players to decide if they're either going to, if they're going to clear the ball, quote, clear it to Rose dead, or keep possession.
Yeah.
And we talked about this last season because it's been an issue.
Yeah, they just need to blast the shit out of it. I think that's like what we said, is they need to blast the shit out of the ball sometimes. Just fucking clear the lines.
Yep. So I'm glad she's clocked that. The other thing, I think this was I was wondering if this is what was happening last year. So when she talked about this next part in this presser, I was honestly kind of shocked, because she says, they, as a team identity, do we want to win games or play a certain way and maybe lose? And And that's kind of, I feel like that's what she was trying to do last year. You know, when we were saying like, you got to mix it up, you got to try something. But she wanted to win a certain way. That's what it felt like to me. Other people said similar things. And so I think she's in her do what you have to do to win era.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all saw what happened last year in trying to do that. And then with this year, I don't know. I feel like you look at teams like Orlando and it's just like maybe you can play your best. I mean, we played Orlando, right? We played the best game we could play and we maybe should have won that game, but we didn't. So we need to try something else.
Right. But I mean, even in that game, she came out with a completely different layout for the team. Their shape was completely different, something they'd never played before. And that's not something we saw last year. So I think she's playing to win in a way that feels a lot different than last year.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah.
Maddie and Lynn were all the players that they brought in for the presser. I was like, kind of like, I don't know. It was weird to watch like the future and then like the legend next to each other, you know?
Yeah.
I was kind of like, I can't imagine like what Maddie was feeling in that moment.
It was really cute to see it. And, you know, Maddie's talking and Lynn's just kind of sitting there beaming.
I know. It was
and
so
then
cute.
Maddie's trying to compliment her as like somebody that she looked up to, but also, you know, as a teammate, as a peer. Lynn also just kind of a bit unprompted talked about how much she loved playing here. She even had to ask Ryan Perez, the head of the media head, how long she'd been here because she couldn't remember because it already feels like home. And he's like, since January, so like 4 months.
Yeah.
And she was, you know, talking about how great the fans were. She never expected to have that kind of reception. And I think just buy-in from everybody, the Seattle soccer community, the team, the staff. So that was, as a fan, that's what you want to hear.
Absolutely. And then the other part, as a Seattle fan, the other thing you want to hear is that she's hated Portland long before even being on the team.
That was the best.
Yeah, she like had like a specific, I think she could look up the specific day she like learned that she hated Portland, the Portland Thorns at least. And it was I think she said it was 2017. And she's always had some beef with them. So she scored like a ridiculous amount of goals against Portland. I think it was maybe the most ever a player scored against like the Portland Thorns at least. So I think maybe she'll get her goal in Portland for us. That would be nice.
Hell yeah.
But I welcome any player that fucking hates Portland.
I feel like that's like the Jess Fishlock initiation.
Yeah. And now we got, hopefully Maddie Dahlien will now hate Portland. And anyone else is welcome to hate Portland, but the number one rule in Seattle is fuck the Thorns.
Yep.
Whoa, so drama not spicy enough for you?
Not enough hotheads in this week's matchups?
Want to add a kick to your game day meal?
Spice up your life with Hacks and Ferments. Handcrafted in Georgetown and made with the best local ingredients from across the Pacific Northwest. Specializing in unique, small batch fermented hot sauces and vinegars. Hacks and Ferments brings bold flavors and natural fermentation together for something truly special.
Whether you're a heat seeker or you're just looking to elevate your cooking, you'll find something you love at hacksandferments.com. That's HAXANFERMENTS.com.
And right now, if you use code SOUNDERATHEART at checkout, you'll get a hot sauce completely free with your order. Again, go to hacksandferments.com, use code SOUNDERATHEART, all one word, at checkout for free hot sauce with your order.
Hacks and Ferments is a proud sponsor of the Sounder at Heart podcast network.
Thank you for listening to the Sounder at Heart podcast network, which now includes Nos Arietes, Lobbing Scorchers, and the Cooler Guild. We've been independent since August of 2023, but need your support to make sure it continues. Although this podcast is free, it's only made possible by your continued support. Memberships start as low as $25 a year, which not only helps make podcasts like this one happen, but also gets you access to everything we produce. If you're able to support us at higher levels, starting at $75 a year, you gain access to a host of other perks, Most notably, entry into our members-only Discord, where the smartest, funniest, and most engaged commenters share their thoughts and ideas. To find out more, just visit sounderetheart.com and click the subscribe button in the top right corner. Thanks for listening.
So, with all that game being through and gone, we have to have a player of the match.
Yep. It's time. It's time for the Cooler Player of the Match. Cooler Player of the Match is brought to you by the Doctor's Office, a great little 12-seat bar on Capitol Hill. The owner is a big fan of the rain and is proud to be our very first sponsor. It was funny because Van asked me, like, who do you think player matches for you? And I was like, rewatched the first half because I kind of missed it. I got my kickoff times wrong. I do this semi-regularly. So I was rewatching the first half, and I told Van my first one, but then she didn't respond. So sometimes I'm like, am I wrong? So then I sent, well, also this person. And then I was like, okay, do I need a third one? Because she still wasn't responding. So then I was like, okay, well, this would be my third person that I would choose. And then Van's like, oh yeah, this would be my first, my second, and my third. And we were like on the exact same page. So this week we're giving it to Claudia Dickey. Congrats. Balled out. Saved our asses when we needed it the most.
In a tight second, it was almost a back-to-back. Sam Meza.
It was. But we were heavily debating Sam Meza, but
with the shutout and the game she had, Dickey deserves her flowers for this one. But huge shout out to Sam Meza and James Turner.
Yeah.
And you can read more about how great they were in Susie's Ride of Valkyries article.
Go check it out.
So thanks again to the Doctor's Office. The Doctor's Office is the best place to grab a drink before or after a rain match. Try their Charred Gibson. It tastes like a backyard gin martini, only instead of an olive, you get plucked a burnt onion right off the grill and dunked into your martini. I think that sounds delish. Check out their Instagram at TDO Seattle, or better yet, go drink there in person.
Cheers.
Clink.
We reached out to the Discord, and
you can join the Discord for a measly fee of $75 a year.
And you get access to like everything from Sound at Heart for that price.
Full access.
Yeah. So there's a special Discord on there. I reached out and asked what kind of things people wanted to go over, if any questions. First one I got was from Susie, the ever famous Susie. Susie asked, Sam Meza struggled against Angel City as the attacking midfielder, but has been a revelation playing deeper the last two games. Where do you think she's best suited in the midfield?
You're correct. Deeper. With this lineup, deeper. I think that the struggle in Angel City, like we talked about in the last episode, or the 2 episodes ago, was that missing midfield. And she is so tenacious. Sam Meza is so tenacious. She wins the ball back incredibly quickly. And she's able to swing that ball around and get involved in that kind of defensive midfield area. And in the Angel City game, there was a huge gap there. And so I think that they realized that and we're like, okay, we need somebody who can really control the middle and pull her back into that space. And it works.
Do you think, I guess now that you're saying all of that, I'm not super, I would say my brain is still learning the formation stuff for soccer, but it seems like what you're saying is like she's kind of plays a similar role as like Sonnet. And I feel like Sonnet was a huge, like when we lost her, we were kind of struggling in that area. I mean, we still kind of have been, but I feel like I watch this team now with Meza kind of play where she's been playing, and I'm not like, shit, I wish we still had Sonnet.
Yeah, you're right. It is a similar kind of 6 role, which is like the central midfielder that's just in front of the back line. Mm-hmm. And I just think with the quickness that she has, the ability to get stuck in and win the ball, that's really, really what you need in that area. And she's challenging for everything that's coming through, right? If she loses the ball, you best be 20 yards away because she's coming at you.
Yeah, she's
quickly.
getting back up. Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're right in that assessment that it's been like, oh, we really need to find somebody to fit there. No, I think she fits there.
Yeah. With her and James Turner, if she's having a good game, That's a pretty good pairing, it seems like.
Yeah. Yeah, they seem to really play off each other. And James Turner got into the mix up top a couple times, just being able to play the ball through or being in a dangerous position. So I'm into it.
Me too. Tom Faber asked, which Reign player would you give, quote unquote, a most improved from 2024 to 2025 award to? I think it's a little too early to be saying that. We're 5 games in, and a lot of these players we didn't see much of last year, so it's kind of hard to.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I think assessing it right now is a little tough to do. If I had to think about it, and the people I came up with was either Claudia Dickey or James Turner.
And I would agree with that. I think in these last 5 games, Claudia Dickey's been exceptional. And if you've been listening to this podcast for a hot minute, you know that I have not always been her biggest fan, but I see it, and she's doing the things that good goalkeepers do. And she hasn't made, and I don't want to say this because I don't want to knock on wood, but there hasn't been that kind of lapse that you'd see, the lapse of concentration that cause issues, or making a save and not playing the ball, not parrying the ball away from pressure.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's not happening this year. She's done everything correctly. So for me, I would say, hell yeah, most improved so far.
Yeah, I guess we had Susie ask too about, Susie said she's been looking more confident commanding about Claudia Dickey, and have you observed the same? I think, yeah, that's exactly what's happening, is she seems a lot more confident in the way that she's playing. And
yeah.
She seems to be very physical about stuff in a way that I'm really, really appreciating, coming out for balls. And
I think that also has something to do with what Laura Harvey talked about in the post game. She was saying that she's really wanting these younger players, and I would loop Claudia Dickey into this sentiment here. Somebody asked about the communication on the field, and she's like, well, I can't really hear much, but they're really trying to empower these young players to speak up,
mm-hmm.
to communicate, and to really find their leadership and their voice on the field. And it seemed like there was some miscommunication last year, so possibly with Dickey, this is a product of that effort to get players to feel more confident in that communication. But yeah, she's coming out for things, and that was always kind of something that we really liked about Claudia Dickey, was her ability to come out and win balls out of the air. But there was some sort of confidence issue last year where it kind of dipped off at times, when we had a couple header goals scored and from balls that she should have come out and gotten.
Mm-hmm.
You're not seeing that this year, this season. You're seeing a steady, confident goalkeeper.
It's nice.
It's great.
Matthew asked, is Heidema entering her bully era complimentary? It's a complimentary. I thought you would like this question.
I did. He actually expanded on it today a bit.
Oh, yeah?
In the Discord I saw. Also, there is a wonderful photo that the AP photographer took of Jordan Heidema after the game, just fully 2 feet in the air, stomping on roses. And so yes, she's in her bully era in the best way possible. I also saw the little clip of her after the game where she was chanting the "Build a Bonfire" to the camera, screaming it into the camera. I have never seen that kind of energy from her. She's feeling it. And anyway, Matthew sits on the side field level, and so he said she absolutely bullied a thorn out of the pitch right by us and had a big grin on her face doing it.
I love it.
She is, but she's also the most fouled player in that game.
Yeah, I think she's sick and tired.
She's sick and tired of being sick and tired,
Yeah. She's got to be a little careful sometimes. I think we had maybe missed, I don't know if it was the second game of the season. We had missed, it was at the very end where it was it was the first game, it was against Gotham. And she kind of plays a little risky game sometimes with the pressure that she puts on players and stuff. which I don't mind, but she's got to be a little careful at times. But I think she'll get smarter about it, so I'm not super worried.
Yeah, play hard, but don't play stupid.
Yeah. The last one I'll ask you from Rick. I think Laura has settled in on her lineups. Do you think so, or how much do you think she'll keep tinkering for simplicity, focusing on the right now, so like ignoring season injuries and loans and stuff? What do you think?
This is a tough one because it's going to depend on player health.
Yeah. We're not that deep.
Huh?
We're not that deep.
No, not at all. I think that she's being more pragmatic with the lineups and who we're playing and how the other team sets up. I think she's being more pragmatic in that choice of who she's starting. I don't know. I think that there is still some tinkering to be had, like maybe with the Curry situation.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there are pieces that she's trying to figure out where a player is most effective, and if she's playing, a certain formation, is that player effective in that position?
Yeah.
But we also have players that haven't seen a bunch of time. You've got Olo, who has been kind of filling in at the very end of games a couple times, but she's still getting back, after being off for a year. So
AMC is another one I would like to see more of, but she had the international stuff going on, so makes sense why she wasn't there. I wouldn't say there's like a...
And you've got the middle is kind of packed now with G and Mercado.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that that's going to be an ever-changing kind of thing.
Yeah.
Laura Harvey's never been a person to have a set lineup.
Yeah.
So
she looks at opponents, looks at the strengths of the team in ways that I don't know those kinds of things like she does, but
I think a lot of people don't. Most people.
99.9%
of people don't.
Yeah, so I wouldn't expect us. I mean, we also haven't had like an outright like perfect performance with the perfect result, right?
Correct.
And until we see something like that on a weekly basis, then like you can always improve and you can always kind of try new things, especially with the types of players that we have on the team and the different abilities they have. That, yeah, I just don't think that that's fully set personally.
I think she's settled on Claudia Dickey. I can.
Yeah. I think she's
that's the one.
There's definitely some players that she would like to see every single week. Obviously, Claudia Dickey at this point.
Jordan Bug,
McClernand. She would obviously love to have B and Doe on the field every single time, and I do think she's fully bought in on Dahlien.
Yep.
But injuries, I don't know.
So I think you can plop a couple people into if they're healthy, yes, they're starting.
Yeah.
That's going to be in the lineup, but then everything else is kind of so dependent on other factors.
For sure. I think that's pretty much all we got for the community questions.
Thank you for asking questions, everyone.
Yeah, thank you. Makes our episodes much more interesting and fun for us. And I think that kind of wraps up the Reign match. Do you have any final thoughts on it?
I'm just so happy we won.
Yeah, truly. Couldn't have come at a better time.
I was sitting next to some Portland reporters I wasn't sitting they sat next to me.
Okay.
They sat near me.
It's probably the dumbest seat they could have chosen.
Yeah. So after the things that I heard them talking about before the match, and then to go up in the fourth minute, I was just like,
You always love that. I was watching like I said, I had some friends over watching the game, and the dude, it was like a straight couple, derogatory. Anyway.
I'm dead. Okay. I'm back.
So the dude follows sports, as most men do, cis men do, but he was like, who is this goalkeeper for the Reign? He's like, she's kind of a badass. Like, I fucking love her. She's like fucking, like, she's like gutsy and like, she's just going out there. She looks tough. And then like, I was like, does she look tough? And then they like cut to her, like, Claudia Dickey's face, and she just like got that grimace, you know? like doing this thing.
She has a game face like nobody else.
Yeah. So he was really enjoying her. And then I also think I like talked him into hating the Thorns because he was just like, these players are kind of assholes, aren't they? And I was like, yep, this is kind of their game plan.
One more note from the game. Moultrie got fouled.
Fouled, quote unquote. Air quotes.
Right outside the box twice.
How can
Blatant fucking dives, dude.
They need to be watching for those for her.
She is just falling over.
Feels like a fucking pinky on her fucking shoulder. She's going down. It was not cool. I did not enjoy that.
No.
Like,
I mean, I get it. If it works, it works. And it's part of the game. It can be part of the game. But it's so incredibly blatant that it made me very...
diving like that should be a yellow card, and then she did it multiple times in the game.
Yeah. Red card. Get off the field.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's it for me.
Okay. Moving on to... It's the wrong document. We got some NWSL results to go over. Utah 1, Chicago 0. Shocker, not shocker.
Toilet bowl.
Yeah, toilet bowl.
Well, not really. North Carolina's down there.
What was that?
Said not North Carolina's down there.
Yeah. But not us.
Nope.
That's all that matters right now. Angel City, Gotham. Angel City, they didn't have Alyssa Thompson, and apparently they have no game plan after that.
No. Throw Giselle higher up, and that did absolutely nothing for them.
Yeah, I don't know if that's interesting. I will say though, Esther is just on a fucking tear. A fucking tear, man. She is. I saw someone point out, like, how are you letting a 5'3" player get headers? I don't know, but that's
she's so incredibly smart with her positioning.
She's so quick,
and she's quick.
She's nimble.
Yeah,
like you see her like dart over that near post to get that header, and I was like, how do you stop that?
She's nimble. It's giving Sam Meza.
Mm-hmm. Let's add this to her game. Jace, I think I figured out her name was pronounced Jace. Jace scored her first from Brazil, scored her first NWSL goal, and the assist was from Midge Purse. Love to see that.
Mm-hmm. Coming back.
Yeah. There's also a weird deflected goal from distance. That was
crazy.
Super fluky.
Yeah, it was like a long shot. It was probably like 10 yards outside the box.
Yeah.
And it hit a player in the head.
Yeah.
And then it did this like weird thing where it like popped up and then like back into the goal. It's very odd.
There was nothing the goalkeeper could have done about that.
No.
So it was a 4-0 win, but it wasn't like it looked like it was a thrashing if you look at the scoreline, but it was like an Esther masterclass, and then some kind of just Angel City had nothing to fight back.
Yeah, Sam Lady's like, well, you hired somebody else, so...
Yeah, what the fuck do I care?
Louisville, San Diego. San Diego won 4-1. Expected.
Things are bad in Louisville.
They're real bad.
I don't know if they're going to be in Louisville forever.
Yeah.
It was looking pretty sad out in the stands there. I know they've got a bunch of shit going on there with like weather and a lot of stuff's not so good there. But there's been talk sometimes about possibly Louisville being relocated somewhere else at some point, and seems like that might actually happen.
I mean, we got to talk about the third goal in this game. It's literally like...
Oh, the sad one?
A ground shot, right? And it's just a scoop from the goalkeeper, right? And this is what I don't understand. They used to teach you to pick up the ball, and in goalkeeping, like, you always want to have 2 points of contact behind the ball, right? So when you catch the ball, that's why you move your body and you don't just reach out to catch it if you can, right? Because if it passes through your hands, it hits your body. It doesn't go in. She's going to scoop up the ball in just like a granny bowling pose, right? Or like a granny shot pose, just legs really wide apart, hands down, and it misses. She just takes her eye off of it, misses it, and it goes right through. Yeah, the vibes are not good with Louisville for that something like that to happen. Yeah, and Louisville's goal was a PK, so not good. Speaking of bad goalkeeping. Orlando finally got their first loss of the season against a very, very depleted Washington Spirit team. Yeah, this was real surprising. Yeah. I mean, I guess it wasn't, because I feel like we laid the groundwork on how to kind of deal with Orlando. We just never found that goal. Sure, we can take credit for this, but also Orlando had so many chances and they couldn't convert. It was like the opposite of what they did against us. Also, where was this goalkeeping against us?
Yeah, I was really
that was my favorite comment that you made.
Yeah, because their goalkeeper
Morehouse.
Yeah, she like kick it? Like what? I don't know what she was doing out the back.
Yeah, they were playing out of the back, which, you know, people, you do you, I guess. But she like went to take a touch away and wasn't looking around her or something. And
against Orlando, like, against the Spirit, right? So like, yes, they're depleted in team, but like they're still a decent team. Like they know how to do stuff.
Well, and it was also the first start for their new Nigerian player who was pressing up top, right? And she just comes in and takes the ball right off of Morehouse's foot and puts it in the back of the net. And she's like in her 6-yard box. This is just dumb. I
really wish that we would have had that goalkeeping, just like any percentage of that goalkeeping when we played Orlando last week.
She didn't step an inch wrong against us.
No.
And now she's just giving goals away? Come on.
Don't appreciate that.
But this new Nigerian player, 21-year-old from Washington Spirit, her name is Gift Monday. I know. I love it. She seems promising. So that's good for the Spirit with, the news coming out this week that Trinity Rodman is going to be out with that back injury for an extended period of time.
Yeah, it's like unknown how long she's going to be out. There's a lot of things to take away from that. I don't know if someone's not letting her recover the amount that she needs. The one thing I wanted to bring up about this was that it's not easy for somebody as good as Trinity Rodman to admit that like your career is never going to be as great as you had dreamt it would be, right? Because she talked about this. She was like, this back injury is always going to be a hindrance for me. And I don't know, maybe a week or two later, I saw Landon Donovan talking about how like Trinity Rodman is going to be like the best player in the entire world. And like, just, I think putting this pressure on her career in a way that just kind of felt gross to me because of what comments she just made about it. Right. I don't know that I just feel like it was kind of rude.
It seems out of touch. Especially with like, okay, Trinity Rodman's like one of the best players in the world right now, probably top 15 at least.
When she's healthy.
But coming from a man that played professional soccer and got
coached
all of
and NWSL,
but a man that knows the amount of treatment and recovery and the resources that are available to these players are not half of what he was ever allotted.
He also took a sabbatical in his career.
Yeah, should not be making these comments.
No.
Yeah, it's stupid. It's out of touch.
It's like, I mean, like that's a sensitive subject. I remember there's been a lot of, this happens in the men's game as well, but like it's a very sensitive subject to talk about players and their like prolonged injuries and just like these things that are going to affect their careers for the rest of their lives. Like when everything happened with Sam Mewis, and it was pretty clear that her career wasn't going to be the same as it ever was, despite being top 5 best players in the world before. And I don't know. I just feel like, what are you doing talking about it like this?
Well, I think that's why I put a lot of Laura Harvey gets a lot of my respect.
Yeah.
The amount of care that she puts into players' injuries and allowing them ample recovery time.
Yep.
And is very clear about that. And I think that her caginess about players' injuries allows for that prolonged time that they're able to stay out.
Yeah, it doesn't put pressure on them.
It doesn't put pressure on them, but it also keeps the media from repeatedly asking, like, at least with Lynn, she knew that it was going to be sooner than later. So she's like, yes, she has a high ankle sprain.
She did
high and low ankle sprain.
But she did wait until she was kind of more in the clear with it. Or like
right. So
the end. I
think that that's one thing that and I was thinking about this, and, as somebody that's like, I want to know what's wrong. I don't know why there was in the game. I think when it comes to the result of that and how it plays out, I think overall she has to be that way in order to give players that extra time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well said. All right. Next result, North Carolina lost again. Okay,
they're bottom of the barrel right now.
Yeah, they might be worst team. But we didn't know that when we beat them, so it means different things when we beat them.
I did say, but we don't know how good North Carolina is yet.
Yeah, I know. You did say that. But they got their win against them. Last game happened. It's weird that we're recording this on Sunday and all the games have already happened.
I know. That was a weird thing.
3 games happened on Friday. That was really annoying. KC won against Houston, 2 goals for KC. 1 was a penalty. 1 was a header off of a corner that I don't know what Jane Campbell was doing. A lot of bad goalkeeping mishaps this weekend.
Yeah, Jane Campbell came out to punch the ball, but somehow just went behind an attacker and not at the ball.
Yeah, you can't be punching the ball if you ain't sure where that's fucking going.
Well, there's a reason she's not, in the national team conversation.
Well,
moving on.
I wanted to point out that KC does maybe have the best goalkeeper in the league right now. Maybe top 2, top 3. She's up there. Lorena's doing really well for them.
Mm-hmm. I would add Claudia Dickey into that mix, honestly.
Yeah, I would too. That's why I said top 3. You watched part of this game. I think that's pretty much it for the NWSL. The Canadian Northern Super League kicked off.
I did watch this game. Very exciting. We got 4 former Reign players in this Vancouver team. Mariah Lee, alumni of FC Olympia, my local team here that I run. Started in this game alongside Nikki Stanton and Quinn. Mm-hmm. Stanton kicked the game off. They had the first touch of the game, so Stanton got the first touch of the game, and then Vancouver got a PK. Yeah, or for the league. Yeah. The history of the league. We got 2 history makers and former Reign players here because Quinn scored a PK goal. Yeah, and they won 1-0.
Pretty neat. The crowd,
go Vancouver.
You had a pretty good crowd size there. We'll see.
Crowd was great. It seemed like the environment was great. And I have to say, top-notch announcing.
What?
It was incredible.
Would I know it even if I heard it at this point? I don't know. Probably not. I do. Yeah, I think. Where was that? Where were they airing that? Was it YouTube?
It was on YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. Something.
Oh no, sorry, it's not on YouTube. My bad. It's on ESPN Plus.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah, it sounds like it's a new league, right? And it's Canada, so it's gonna take some time for the game to develop, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't the prettiest game to watch,
but you got to start somewhere.
Yep.
Next match for the Reign.
Yep.
We got Bay FC on the docket at PayPal Park. Saturday, April 26th, 7 p.m. on Ion.
Yep, so an away game, both teams coming off of 1-0 wins. We're on points, tied with Bay. Mm-hmm. So this could be a really important match as far as if we want to stay in the conversation for playoffs. I mean, it's early on, sure, but you have to beat those teams that are on par with you points wise and in the table. You have to win those games. And
it's not like Bay's beaten anybody great yet, similar to us. I mean, we beat Boring FC and then maybe one of the worst teams in the league right now, North Carolina, and Bay's beaten Louisville and North Carolina. So yeah, I think this is one of those games where it's a test.
Yeah, I think it'll be it shouldn't be a well-matched game. We should beat them.
Yeah, agreed.
Because we're getting better and better every game. So hopefully that can continue and we can just thrash them and move on.
Yeah. If this episode's going on kind of long, so I'm not going to shout out the other things I want to say. But things I want to see another Biandolo goal involvement. I'd prefer to see her actually get a goal. But if we can keep getting her involved in stuff, that's going to be really good for us long term.
I would say the exact same thing, but Jordan Heidema goal involvement.
That would be nice. Yeah, so go watch that. If anyone has any interest, we I mean, I don't think it'll be happening soon because I've got some stuff going on. But if anyone's interested possibly in us doing some like YouTube live after some of these away matches and want to like get involved and do some chatting there, let us know if you are interested. I don't know how you want to let us know.
You can always send us an email. We love an email.
Yeah, you can send us an email. Yeah, but do you have any shout outs for the week?
No.
Okay. Well, I think it's going to wrap up everything for us. If you want to, we can thank our sponsors right now, I guess. The Doctor's Office.
Hacks and Ferments.
Hacks and Ferments. Doctor's Office just got on the list of best bars in
Oh, yeah, I was going to shout
America.
that out.
Yeah, best, was it number 75 best bar in America or the North America? That's pretty big. It's a pretty big accomplishment for them. A little bar.
Incredible.
In Seattle.
It's a great place. Go there.
Yeah, go there. And then, like I said, if you want to send us a thing about maybe doing us lives on YouTube, the place to do that would be to let us know on Bluesky or Instagram. That's two places you could shout us out at. Cooler Guild Pod.
Or like I said, you could send us an email at thecoolerguild@gmail.com or on our main website, soundheart.com/the Cooler Guild.
And that YouTube channel is youtube.com/@thecoolerguild. Go follow and subscribe there, please. And wherever you're listening, go rate 5 stars. Till next time.
Stay cool,
y'all.
Oh, I forgot the y'all. Stay cool, y'all.
Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Hardware store later today or sometime this week and get make a cable runner for Van Jr.
Okay.
Because it's baby bunny season and they're his favorite food.